Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame, and I hope he says something. That was actually very well timed. And oh, good, the audio's working. I forgot to look at your audio before we started. It's working great.
Thank
That's fantastic.
you.
Chris, how you doing? How you been? It's been several weeks since we chatted between vacations and other things.
I'm fine. Sometimes I forget you're on vacation. I send you a message and I'm like, oh, well, Sean didn't respond like at all in the last 10 hours. He must be on vacation. Oh yeah, he's on vacation. Like, but if I if I happen to not respond to you, it's probably just because I saw it and I thought I sent something and I didn't.
I want you to know that your messages 0% interfere with my vacation, and I would happily respond to them, except for that sometimes I say vacation, sometimes I'm just at home, which is an hour west of Wichita, and there is not cell phone service there
That's fine.
whatsoever. Not like there's, I think Verizon, anything that uses Verizon towers gets it, and that is not what I have. And so sometimes it's completely involuntary, and then I come back to society, and all my text messages flow through at once, and that's very anxiety riddled for some reason. But
Mhm.
this time I
Mhm.
just went to Branson, and there's places along the drive to Branson where there's nothing. Not too many places, but
Yeah,
a couple.
yeah.
But anyway, that's great. What else you been
Right.
up to?
Nothing. Just I say nothing. Been diving deep in the world of Avatar into the Avatar Studios has this name for Avatar all encompassing of their canon, right? Right now they've been calling it Avatar Legends.
Hmm.
And if I had to think of like, all right, where I want to, what I want to title, what do I want to banner, if you will, like if we ever told stories outside of Zeto or continue telling stories of Zeto or anything, like what would be the banner of it? Because it wouldn't be Avatar Legends, but maybe Avatar Mythologies. Something in the sense that feels like, hey, these things can fit into the universe. Doesn't contradict something. It can be your head canon. The head canon isn't a strong enough word for me.
The only thing I don't like about mythologies is that implies that maybe it's not real. Uh,
That's true. I
Avatar
couldn't
Legend
think of
sounds slightly more finite, but I don't. It just
it.
don't sound. It doesn't sound quite right to me for
Yeah, and also
some
I don't want
reason.
to take their name for this thing that I might not even use for this banner.
I do. It sounds dumb, but
Avatar.
in a very literal way, I want it to incorporate the word Avatar because that is like the
Well, yeah.
defining trait
Well,
of the universe. But I don't know what's that other.
I'm not gonna call it Aang the Last Airbender.
The last Airbender mythologies. You know what we need
Oh,
to
there is
do?
news
Let,
regarding that. Remind me to bring it up a little bit later before we get into the discussion topic. But anyway, go ahead.
let's go look at spin-off video games like from Konami and see all the garbage like words that they put after, like usually it's spin-off titles and things like, and one of those words is gonna Avatar Revengeance, if there's any Metal Gear fans out there. Revengeance. Not a real word, just in case. Well, it is probably now, I guess. It's probably in some dictionary somewhere thanks to Konami. uh
Maybe Avatar. So a better word for additional, like Avatar additional lore or Avatar.
like the Avatar extended universe, but like
Yeah, but not extended. That's
right, but that's like I get where your
yeah.
brain is
Uh,
going with that.
yeah. Yeah. We'll
Um,
figure it.
yeah, let's. I'll do a
Mhm.
quick a chat GPT, and I'll just other words for extended universe, and we'll see what it does. Chris, it sounded like you had some news, not news, maybe news
Yeah.
light. I'm gonna say.
So this is either good news or bad news. Some people took it as bad news, I guess. The Avatar movie, Aang, tentatively titled Aang the Last Airbender, terrible title, but
Mm-hmm.
that's tentative. Uh, was originally supposed to come out in October of 2025. It's been pushed back, not a lot, so that's good. But it's been pushed back to January of 2026, so just a couple of months. So that isn't. Sometimes movies get pushed back like 6 months or a year and a half. Every now and then it's like 2 years, and it's like, holy crap, there's something wrong with the movie. But this seems to be a just a scheduling thing. They move some movies around and stuff. Like 3 months, I'm like, all right, that's not. It doesn't seem like there's any issues or anything with production stuff like that. So that's good. The somewhat bad news that, or the bad spin that people are like, oh, they moved it to January, and January is off. January and like early February is like the time of the year where movie studios, will dump their films that they aren't necessarily sure about, because that is a very what the heck was what the heck is that?
Is that
Do
like
you hear that music?
No, I didn't. Is it coming through my thing? Remember that time you had a spider like drop down? Wait, was that me or you? Was it me? Might have been me.
So,
I don't know. On one of our cameras, a spider dropped
oh,
through.
oh no, that was my yeah.
Was
I have
that
to
on your thing?
find the video. No,
Uh,
my sound bar just randomly came on. Weird. Never
Creepy.
happens. Uh,
It's just Microsoft
okay.
watching you live. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So studios dump their movies that they're not necessarily sure about in those months and stuff. I'm not saying those films can't be successful. It's just that they're unsure about it, and so it's like, well, we'll just put it here. I think it could display some type of trepidation from the studio on this Avatar movie, which I actually understand their trepidation for it, for a couple reasons. Three main reasons. One, there's really no marketable people on the voice actor side. These are all fairly no names people, besides Dave Bautista. But Dave Bautista isn't like a he. And with all due respect, to Dave Bautista, love Dave Bautista, but he doesn't necessarily sell movies by himself, especially as a voice actor for probably the fifth most important character in the movie. Yeah, probably actually the sixth most important after Team Avatar. The villain is probably the sixth most important in noticeable
That's fair.
character. So there's that reason. The other reason is that this is going to be 2D animation. There are there's not that American animation. It's all 3D now. Like 2D is a thing of the past. So maybe they're a little shaky on that. Um, 2D animation film. The only 2D animation films you see played in the U.S. are films from Japan, like anime, like the Miyazaki films. Where every now and then you'll get an anime film that's part of a TV show that comes over. But those aren't like huge box office success. They perform relatively well for their costs and stuff, but they're not huge successes.
I,
Uh,
I think
keep
that.
going. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say. I think that it's not those people don't have a point, right? It's not. It's not a reason for not concern. It just is way too early to draw conclusions or to make those kind of
Yeah,
assumptions. That's not
yeah,
good or not inherently good as getting pushed back, but it doesn't have to mean anything.
yeah. And the third reason why I think studios might be a little trepidatious towards the Avatar movie is that this is a movie based off of a 20-year-old TV show, and it's kind of a niche audience. With all due respect to
It's a big
Avatar, it's
audience, but
huge.
it is a specific audience. It's not a
Yeah,
small
and
audience,
it's
but it
like
is. It's not like something that everybody's just gonna turn on and watch a couple episodes here. Like,
yeah, and so like how many films that are continuations of TV shows are successful? There's not. I think Sex and the City was fairly successful. I think the first one made like 400 million
that's not
worldwide.
what I thought you were gonna
Actually,
say.
because I looked at it the other day because I was trying to think about other TV shows, but there's been plenty of other ones that have been as successful. For instance, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, the
Okay,
cartoon.
I was gonna say Pokemon, the first Pokemon movie. I guess
Oh yeah,
fits the
that's a good one too.
criteria.
Yeah, it does fit the
But the
criteria.
okay, but
I
the
don't.
difference is both of these things that we just said. Those shows were still actively happening at that time.
That's true. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I
Yeah,
think it has to be at least a little more good than bad, doesn't it?
okay, I would I would think so because if you are an audience member and you're like, oh, I want to go see the latest Batman movie, your mama's like, we got Batman at home. We literally have that same Batman, great story at at all you can watch. So I think that probably is a slightly better thing.
Maybe not
Um,
overwhelming, but if you had a
yeah,
pick, but great
but
example on Phantasm, of course.
yeah, and that's a top 10 movie for me.
You
But
know,
anyway,
I don't love the Pokemon movies, but I have a ton of nostalgia for that first one. That hit
oh
pretty
my god,
hard.
that first one,
Yeah, that
yeah,
first one hit
it,
it. That threw a big like a haymaker at your children's emotions. Is what that did.
yeah, like why are they fighting? Like stop hitting him, stop hitting Pikachu, fight back,
Come on,
Pika Pika.
Pikachu. My little heart was breaking. Well, yeah. So
And then Mewtwo, why are you doing?
that was,
Pika
oh,
Pika Pika Pika.
gosh. Maybe I need to rewatch that movie. Maybe it's better movie overall than I'm giving credit for. I'm about to well up here just thinking about the. Well, I didn't see it in
I think
theaters. I
that might
watched
have
it at home with
been.
my little brother.
I remember begging my mom to go take me to it. And at one point, my friends were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go, and we'll take you." And then they ended up canceling for whatever reason. They probably broke, couldn't go. And then finally, my mom convinced my sister to take me, and she fell asleep in the movie, which was fine. But I loved it, seeing the movie.
I'm a little jealous. Our closest movie theater was 30 minutes away, and because it was a small town theater, I know sometimes it seems like the opposite, but a small town theater had to charge more to just to stay open.
Yeah,
So we did
sure.
not go to the movies very often. But yeah, good movie. No, so not great news, but hey, like that. I don't know. That didn't seem like anything to worry
I
about to
am.
me.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the quality of this film a single bit. Now, I want the movie to be successful, and so we get more movies and stuff. So that's it. It would probably be more successful, like if it opened in like to me the best spot would be like late February or late August. Um, really good time. Like people are dying to go back to the movies, and they kind of need a reason to go. I think that's a good time. January it typically isn't a great time. I think the best movie that ever did well in January was uh, uh a Kevin Hart film with Ice Cube, I think, Cops, something like that. It came out Martin Luther King Day weekend, but that's a very specific thing. Anyway,
And a little bit surprising. It's pretty recent for movies. I don't know. Interesting. Uh, yeah.
oh,
Hopefully it comes out
I
and
forgot other little topic that's unrelated to that. So there's a new mobile Avatar game coming out. It probably won't be successful. Um, it's called Avatar Realms Collide, and the trailer they came up with a short little trailer. I don't know. I don't even know the gaming mechanics of this mobile game. Want to say it's like one of those. I don't know. I can't describe it to you. Like conquer this area type of deal, map stuff
strategic
like that.
or like tower defense, tactical
Maybe
strategy, something, something.
something like that. Games that I don't typically play. But the trailer for it, it's just a small little knit little trailer. I freaking love because so the game is called Realms Collide, and it's not canon at all, but I think Avatar Studio is still behind it. Um, but it involves some type of timey wimey travel stuff, and so there's some big bad villain. I don't know his name, but he has a horde of army, and then like you see Aang, Korra, Kyoshi, Roku, like all jumping into action like together. It's like holy crap, this is amazing because you literally can never see them together because it would never make sense to see them together in the same fight because they are the same person that occupies different times. But in this game, you can be a little fluid with the time. You can put them all in things. So I'm excited about just that aspect of it. And I'm curious to see what the story is, even though it's not canon. And they have admitted that this story is not canon because there's no way it could be canon.
That's fine. We don't have to marvel. It's kind of ironic given what I'm about to tell you. I think I have a word I like, but we don't have to marvel. Everything does not have to fit perfectly. We can just have a decent game for once, and that would be great.
It probably won't be decent.
Probably
And I
won't
feel
be decent.
bad. So the studio behind it, they have an official Twitter channel, and they posted the video, and I retweeted it, and I in my retweet I pretty much said, "Holy crap, this looks really cool. The trailer looks really cool. Seeing all four of them, all four of the avatars there. Game will probably be mid, but still, it's a cool little trailer." And then the the official Twitter liked that comment, and then they followed me, and I'm like, "Oh no, I feel bad."
Mm.
I mean,
Because he
thanks
called
for the
their game
follow.
mid, which is a compliment for Avatar games. They're like, oh, we could be mid, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what they're aiming for.
That's the target. Chris, what do you think of the word lore? Can we just call it Avatar lore?
Wait, didn't yeah? Avatar lore. Avatar lore.
Everything on ChatGPT wants me to use the word extended or expanded, and that's just like a little too on the nose for me. So I was trying to think of one word that kind of did the
Oh, you're
same
trying to think. Hmm.
trick.
I'm not sure if one word could do the trick.
I tried.
Avatar blank lore. Avatar. Maybe there's a word out there for additional lore. I mean, there's probably not. That's so specific,
Yeah, that would be.
and it can't sound too technical. But
We'll think of
like
something.
at first I thought, oh, Avatar appendix. You're like, no, that's dumb.
Avatar appendix. This is the Avatar glossary of things that may or may not have
Yeah.
canonically happened.
Yep.
Avatar infrastructures.
Yeah.
Chris,
All right.
let's talk about
Yeah.
villains.
You got things to do. Let's talk about
Yeah,
villains.
let's talk about villains. We're both in a villainous mood right now, and what we decided to go with this week is talking about villain redemption arcs. So there might be a little bit of flash pointing here before they die, for example, of how it could have happened or would have happened. We're going to focus on the four Korra big bads. We're going to talk about what could their redemptions have looked like. We're going to pick our favorite, and which would be the most interesting or the most worthwhile. That's it. That's all I got. We're shooting from the hip.
Shooting from the hip.
Shooting from the hip. All right, let's talk about Amon, where, again, I assume there'd have to be a flashpoint somewhere between leaving the
Yeah.
city and dying, where we'd have to say, hey, this changed, and what that
Yeah.
would look like.
Stories?
Still thinking about it,
All right. All right.
So,
The it's interesting. I mean, we did a whole thing about like what if Amon survived, but we weren't thinking about redemption arcs. So let's just say he just survived his brother's murder suicide.
I think that a redemption arc in my mind starts with his brother. I don't think his brother dies. I think his brother,
Okay.
instead of killing him, I don't know, finds another way to sort of
Now,
incapacitate him, and then that's how it starts.
now, I mean, the thing about Amon is that he loves his brother. So this could be the
Yes.
catalyst for this change. He does truly love his brother, and like that moment is so sad. And then so
I still can't believe, like, just
Carla,
watch, like, what?
that was crazy.
I know.
Nick, I don't know why seven. How the I if I ever get a chance to meet Mike and Brian, I'll be like, how did you guys get away with that? Like, I Avatar. There's nothing they did in Avatar that I felt like, wow, they got away with that. Legend of Korra, specifically the murder suicide, because that is some.
Yeah.
I don't use the word often, but that's some gnarly stuff.
I think I think that Belize is more on screen, but it's not quite as depressing.
Yeah, and even the Earth Queens is like Earth Queens isn't depressing, and also a little bit of it is off screen.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, eh, you know,
Yeah.
context is
Uh,
everything.
yeah. So he loves his brother, and Tarlok felt like the world. Tarlok actually had his own little redemption. We're not talking about him right now, but Tarlok has his own little redemption. He felt like the world couldn't handle bloodbending. Like our bloodbending level, me and my brothers, is so strong. Like it is. I think he came to the conclusion that it's too powerful. And you have to kill them both. And so if Amon survived that, he'd be like, "Oh, my brother was going to kill us both because he thought bloodbending was too powerful of a thing." I wonder would that cause his change and his move into a redemption arc?
In my head, his brother takes it. What's his brother's name? I cannot grasp it for some reason right now.
Tarlock.
Tarlock. Got it. Okay, right. And so, in my mind, Tarlock gets it like gets the best of him just because he's so unsuspecting and unaware,
Okay.
and somehow manages to incapacitate him. And then that they go through this long, arduous. I'm gonna say very like long, arduous, drawn out thing. It's like where they're still supporting like an equalist movement. They've been ousted as bloodbenders, and their scheme is uncovered. But then they just become political. Like the good part of their story or the good part of his intentions,
Yeah.
supporting the equalist movement. And I don't know if there's a strong enough catalyst. I guess the death would have been a better catalyst than staying alive. Like I don't know if his brother incapacitating him, how he's gonna be like, hey, what if we didn't murder people? And
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Amon never murdered anyone,
oh, that's fair.
which makes we talked about before how like he's not evil. Like Amon's probably the most level-headed villain. It was like I just want this bending is terrible, and I want to take it away from the world. Bending has caused so much harm in the world, and we have a whole class of people who are treated as second-rate citizens because of that. I just want to take bending away from everybody. It's sure people don't like it, and it's harmful to them, and I'm forcing something away from them. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
I still he would probably still be some part of like a slightly radical extreme in his ideologies, but in general, just just pushing for non-bending equality.
Yeah, I mean, what would he
I can't decide
if
what would spur him to it and like what action would he take. Would he be a politician or would he be in jail for life? And if he is in jail for life, how's he gonna have his
what?
Zahir
Oh,
with Korra
what?
moment, which we'll talk about in a minute?
I was about to say something I thought was redemptive, but it's kind of more manipulative. That he would like secretly puppeteer, literally and figuratively puppeteer heads of states to impose
That's
more.
that's amazing. I don't know how redemptive it is, but it's amazing.
It's not like it's it's subtle. No one's getting hurt. He's just literally puppeteering people to enact laws and stuff that makes things more equal for non-benders.
And maybe those people are dumb President Rykos and stuff like that, and so it's not that big a deal,
That's, yeah, yeah. That's exactly
So
where my head went to. Like, all right, it would have to be someone who is so incompetent that as a viewer, I'm like, good job,
okay,
Ma.
yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
And he's doing it
Yeah. So like,
so well that nobody's like turned on like, hey, President Rykos suddenly a crazy liberal or what, like no, it's small changes.
yeah, that
Let's
uh, not fully redemptive, but he's still it's less crazy than like, all right, I'm going to take away bidding from the whole world. It's like, no, I'm just going to empower other people.
it, I mean, that would be worth watching, frankly. But I kind of want to get past the next one, which I think is oddly the hardest to find any kind of like realistic
Mm.
potential redemption path for. What do you do with not talking about Unavatu, just Unalak himself,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what could possibly come of him that he doesn't die and then he contributes positively to the world? The only thing I could think of is like he becomes like some kind of, how do I even describe it? Some kind of in
Like a church
between.
preacher. Not
Well,
kidding.
no, I was gonna say like in between ferryman, in between worlds. He's like part spirit, part person,
Ah,
and maybe
as as Unalaq? Oh, I'm sorry, as Unavatu or just Unalaq?
It would just be Unalaq, but
Okay.
somehow his spirit separated from
Yeah,
his
he
visitor, or some
could.
some wonky
Yeah.
witchcraft. But he's the hardest to find because, as we discussed before the call, he is a the most evil, and B like the most evil, the least level-headed, and B I can't decide how a person like that, how their motives would ever shift. Like, what good is there in that person that we can be like, oh, maybe this is where he would turn over a new leaf.
I think that it's he's actually really hard to find. Like Amon, like I said, then my initial thing was like, all right, he loves his brother. Like try to start off with something that is
Yeah,
good and kind of innocent about that person. It's not about action or something
yeah.
they have.
Well, like Zahira, we
And
won't have a ton of issues. Kavira, I don't think we'll have, as she might be the third
yeah,
hardest by default. But
yeah.
what's the good?
Una, thing is, Unalaq doesn't even love his
His
kids. Like,
kids.
there's that scene where, well, there's a scene where they're like, Esk or Desna gets hurt, and Unalaq is like, whatever, forget him, keep on going, and then like he just seems like he doesn't care about them.
I'm gonna
So it's
go. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
no, I was going nowhere with this thought.
Well, I'm
I'm curious
going
where you're
really
going.
lazy, but I don't want to dwell too long on what ultimately is going to be my least favorite one. So I'm going to get lazy and I'm going
Yeah.
to say somehow he ends up like trapped in the fog of lost souls, but in a way that like he knows
Oh.
that he's there forever, and he's a smart enough guy that over time he just finds a way to absorb and be useful, kind of like Yang Chen's friend, or something like he a person that arrogant, he would have to know I'm trapped in here for good.
Okay,
I have no
I think that's.
choice.
I one thing I love the contraption of the Fog of Lost Souls.
It's a
Like it's
nice convenience.
yeah, like it's like people often confuse the spirit world with hell. No, I'm sorry, with the afterlife. It's like it's not for everybody. Like most people just get reincarnated. Some people do move on there, whether willingly or get taken there. And if they're like so, like a good like some people, like Iroh, like dang it, what? Oh, Jetsoon, Yang sister. They are just spirits there. Like they are, I don't know, spirit people. Um, but people who aren't kind of spirits, their souls get lost in the fog of lost souls, which is kind of just purgatory. Like you gotta deal with that self hate and not self hate, but that you gotta deal with that the thing you lied to yourself about or any regrets you have. And so yeah, it's a pretty good contraption, and I think it's actually like poetic justice for poetic justice. I'm sorry, I've been thinking about, there's a song. Anyway, it's pretty good poetic justice for Unalaq being like this big, spirity, the most spirited person, and it's ironic that he would end up in the Fog of Lost Souls, but that helps him on this on the redemption path.
I think I think it's funny that in a way he would be immortal, but in a weird way. Uh,
Yeah.
but he would also. I'm thinking like well, you could say he's got a good enough grasp on spiritual connection that he would be able to maintain some sanity and get over himself in there, and then maybe prove useful to other spirits like Jetsoon. But mostly, like I said, it's a bit of a lazy answer, but just so we can get on to more interesting ones because
No, I like it. I think
uh,
it's good.
it's better than he deserves. But
Yeah.
Zahir is one who I think has like the easiest path because I'm not gonna say you see it, but like just seeing
Mhm.
him in book 4 of Korra, where he's not helpful, he
Mhm.
like we know he has decent motives. He's probably not as level headed as Amon. Just like he loses his cool there for a bit right at the end, and he's a little crazy. Gets a sock put in it. But like we know his motives are decent, and he already contributes to Korra's path again later. Like, and he doesn't die, right? So he has kind of a clear path to redemption. He's got lots of new airbenders that he could help and mentor somehow or other. It would be
Oh, yeah.
easy for me to see how he could, even if it was like a lifetime of prison, could still prove to be a valuable mentor to airbenders and to society and to Korra throughout the rest of Korra's life, or his life, I guess.
Yeah. It's
Mentor,
interesting. He could.
mentor is the wrong word, but
I mean, he could go this two ways. He could purely do it through the spirit world. Like whether that mean he helps out spirits when they're down and depressed and things like that, or he helps out, people that wander there. I mean, he can be a guide, and if he wants to take on the best teachings of Gorilla Hema about detachment and stuff, and part of that would be probably helping people. He um helping people reach the spirit world and things like that. Like he could potentially be a spiritual guru, like Guru Patik.
that would become kind of the new neutral. He doesn't get to be chaotic neutral anymore in his current situation, but that would be his new net neutral. And
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a very easy to envision path. Like, yeah, like if Korra extended beyond Korra today, not saying I'd bet on it or anything, but there's a legitimate easy possibility that he could make a reappearance as a slightly better character than the last time we saw him, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
be
I'm
surprising.
just curious, what would be that catalyst for him changing? Like he helped Korra because he was like, Kuvira's everything that I'm not. Like what
Kuvira
would be a
is
catalyst for helping other people? Or yeah.
Kuvira is the opposite of him. Like she's I guess you could say she's kind of lawful good to the extreme, as opposed to chaotic neutral. And it feels like that if they expanded or did that scene or that relationship a little differently in book 4, that it would be easy to see just Kuvira's impending success being a decent little catalyst for him.
Okay.
Like she's the opposite of him, really, in my opinion.
Yeah. I could also see Zahir. Like Zahir hates monarchies, hates kings and queens. I don't think he necessarily hates presidents who are democratically elected. Um, he didn't. It didn't
He
seem like
probably
he was
hates the
like,
dumb
wait, no,
ones.
oh wait, yeah, sure. He was. I don't know if I heard this in a commentary or not. There's a here was initially in Republic City. His family was like, all right, I can either kidnap President Raiko, or if I go to the Earth Kingdom, I'll kidnap or I'll kill. Oh, he's saying kill, not kidnap. I'll either kill President Raiko or go to Earth Kingdom and kill the Queen. So maybe he is against just any type of political, maybe any type of incompetent
I think
political leader.
I think that he wants to believe that people should be able to survive without, like, he's an anarchist if nothing else. Like he wants to believe that the best people would survive effectively without government oversight, I guess.
Yeah,
But that's
I almost
probably
think he would have to. I think he might have to come and confront his notion, which I think is a dumb notion, that chaos is the true order of the world. Like I think he needs to like see real chaos. Like maybe gets trapped in the spirit world and he sees like some type of chaotic reflection
that
or
needs
something.
to
Or
affect him directly in like a ghost
yeah,
of Christmas future way.
yeah.
I could
But
get on board with that.
yeah.
Uh, I believe in Zahir. I believe that Zahir could be a functional member of society. And then, last but not least, we've got Kuvira, who, in a sentimental way, would be the easiest for people to like want a redemption arc for. I think just being essentially a member of the family should be the easiest
Yeah,
one
she
to root
so
for, no matter how not deserving.
yeah. So Kuvira is she's actually I wouldn't say she's been redeemed, but she's already gone down that path in the comics. I know you haven't read the comics. But it's almost like she's probably like 80% there to her redemption. To me, it's not the strongest redemption. Maybe I need to read Runes of Empire again. And to recap, Runes of Empire, if for those who haven't seen it, or for you, Sean, who might not remember any of my recaps of it.
I do not.
um, okay, good. So Runes of Empire is about Kuvira's like there's leftover army people in Kuvira's army who's like she shouldn't have given up and stuff. Like, and this is after book four, of course. And they're like, we're still going, like we're still going strong. Like they still have a full army and stuff. Oh, and then they so
Are you
the Earth
describing
Kingdom
Die
have started.
Hard 3? Is that what you're doing right now?
I don't know. I forget. All right.
That's
Um.
that's the good one, Chris. That's the Samuel L. Jackson one.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Oh, it's a good movie. Anyway,
Um. So the Earth Kingdom was having elections in the different towns and stuff, and then like Kuvira's army, instead of just fighting back, they're like manipulating the elections and stuff through like literal brainwashing to change votes. And then Team Avatar sees like, oh well, there's Kuvira's army is behind this. Then they contact with Kuvira, and then there's Kuvira goes with them to help stop her army. Like they're like, if Kuvira tells them personally to stop and to stand down, or she could help them fight, or she knows the technology or anything like that, she could help. And so to get her sentence kind of commuted a little bit, her and Korra go off and on a little adventure to fix this. Like the book starts off with Kuvira on trial, and then it ends with uh, I think it ends with her getting a reduced sentence and also being moving her prison just under the supervision of the Beifong family. I think specifically Suyin and Beifong. And so she's kind of welcomed back into the family.
like a
Because
little too easy.
I think it's a little too easy. I think some still work. Like it, I think it ends with all of them freaking smiling. Like, and I
Oh,
was like, it's like,
and they didn't
I
remember
mean, wouldn't
that
say
part
like
where she was like trying to take over the empire
ruins of the
by
empire.
force, kill the
I
Avatar.
wouldn't say like, I
Kind of forgot that.
wouldn't say like smiling, but where is
I
it at?
I don't know why, but what I want
Oh, I
Kuvira
have
to
it.
do in her redemption, again, I don't have a good motive for this either. Maybe she does all those things, and maybe instead of all smiling and happy, they still. Maybe it's just like amicable terms to some degree. But I kind of want her to have or start like another Metal Clan colony, so to speak. Like it's such a successful thing. It's such a neat,
Oh, Star
innovative,
Wars.
futuristic thing. Like I kind of want her to go start her own second sister city or something like that on the other side of the Earth Kingdom and be some kind of head of that. And then people will be skeptical of her or whatever, like it's a cult and she's just doing the same crap. And they're like, no, she's actually trying to turn it around and provide this innovative, whatever, innovative products and lifestyle.
Yeah, this is how the book ends. It says,
They're looking pretty
but
familial.
yeah, but you'll always be part of this family. I actually like the book itself and the story and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. I think could have been a little stronger redemption. Not a bad story at all. Just maybe a little. Man, I forgot how cool Kavira looks. She has a great kind of character design.
I think she could do something industrious off on her own and provide she still like becomes moderately wealthy or powerful within her own city scope, but she provides something technologically advanced and very useful in her own little new new metal clan city 2.0.
I would say the thing I love about Kuvira is that I think one of the great things about the writing in book four is that a lot of it was about Korra holding up a mirror to herself, and Kuvira was like kind of the literal mirror. Like this is Korra, this is you. if you didn't have empathy and like you were all about your power and stuff. Like this is you to the nth degree. This and then by the end of it, Korra has a really great conversation with Kuvira after their big, huge climactic battle and stuff. They just talk in the spirit world. I think it's a great scene, and Korra's talking to her like, hey, I understand why you did what you did and things, but you had to know like those things were wrong. Um, and like, oh, Korra just being really empathetic, and then they just had a really great one on one. And then when they walk out, Kuvira says like she kind of the first step to redemption is admitting that you made a mistake. And I think out of all of them, she's the only one that admitted like, hey, I was wrong. Which is sometimes hard for. Never mind. I was about to say a joke, and I was scared that my wife could hear me.
that that's another Key and Peele skit I watched today, where they're talking about the one where they call it bitch. But you said it. Yes, I said it. It's a great skit.
I would never dare.
No,
Oh, I've
no.
never called a woman that in my life.
First of
One thing
all,
I think is
because there's no
highly
need,
disrespectful.
because I married a very nice lady. But second of all, she'd probably hurt me, and I don't even bruise, so like, I wouldn't even have a case for the cops or anything.
I don't even call my dog that word, and
That's
and so
funny.
I
I call
love
Charlie
Ludacris,
that
the
all the
rapper.
time.
But my dog is a literal bitch. Like she is.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
my dog. But it's so out of my vocabulary. So I love Ludacris, the rapper, as a rapper, and like I love the song "Move." It get out the way, and my dog just has a tendency to just walk right in front of me all the time, and all the time I'm like, "Move." And I just think it in my head, like I don't say, even if my kids aren't around or no one's around, I still don't call her a bitch. But it's
I do it to Charlie all the
anyway.
time. I don't know why. I treat Charlie. It's like I have this like younger brother syndrome that's still working its way out of my system. So I bully Charlie emotionally because every time I do it, he just
Nah.
like looks at me just like wagging his tail all happy. I'm like, his feelings ain't even hurt. Something I probably need to see a therapist about, but I don't think it's affected how Charlie feels about me. Um,
But dang it, dogs don't make that. Um,
you didn't say Kobe, that's why you
but
missed.
Kuvira, that's true. um, so she admits to be wrong. She says I was wrong. So that's the first step in redemption. And she's the only villain who actually said that. So I think she's already kind of on her way. And she also had a really good scene of like, I give up. Like I now know that like nothing I can, everything, nothing I do rivals the power of the Avatar. Her power is far beyond my capabilities. And I don't know, it's just something satisfying about admitting your guilt and humbling yourself. That I think is a great start to redemption arc.
And it seems pretty within reason for Korra. I think it would have taken her longer and it would have been more painful than kind of what you've summarized here for us.
Yeah.
But it feels very maybe the most it feels maybe the most plausible of anything that we said, just because of the familial ties, if nothing else. Chris, do you got a favorite of the arcs that we've discussed? Do you have a favorite or a best or one that you would find the most interesting? Not that it has to be a
Oh wait,
contest,
back
but
to I do I do love Kuvira. It's like there's some um really great like people the kids they call it AU. Do you know what AU stands for,
I
Sean?
have no idea.
Alternate universe. They'll
Oh,
write like an alternate universe thing.
oh,
Some of it sounds a little like cheesy. It's just I just enjoy some of the
I,
fan art of it. I don't enjoy any of the
I've
stories,
I
even though
reacted
I
so
shouldn't.
negatively. I want to clarify. I'm not opposed to alternate universe stuff. I just it's outside
It's
of
just
my
like
scope
it's just
of.
like someone would do a fan art of like, oh, this is them in high school, like, or them in everyday like adult life. Like, oh, hey, did you talk to Kuvira today? And like some of it's like Kuvira just being a gal pal with Korra. And like, oh, I could see that. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Kuvira become more in the world of Avatar. Like, if it's like, hey, we got this really huge villain and we need the world's best metal bender. And then she slowly but surely like comes around. even more. Anyway,
Works her way back into good graces and understanding
yeah,
empathy through another.
yeah. Amongst these stories, uh, probably Zahir, which is dang it, you're gonna say the same thing too. I know.
Yeah, like it's the most interesting in the sense that he could have a really good redemption arc that's already kind of set up, but while still being very at odds with the Avatar. Like they could coexist and make for some pretty interesting stories. Whereas like
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think anybody's gonna allow Kuvira to roam free and have strongly differing ideologies and be in a place of power. You know what I mean? It just feels like Zahir from his constrained place could create some very interesting conflicts with his spiritual world abilities and the growing air nomad population. So I find that the
I
most
just thought of
interesting.
something. I just thought of something so messed up. Like, because like Zahir is locked up, but if he goes to spirit world whenever he wants, it's not. It doesn't feel as locked up. And so, like, what if to solve that, prisons that know that their prisoners can go into the spirit world start like drugging them so
Oh,
that they can't
jeez.
go into the spirit world?
Dang, Chris.
Like, just makes their mind a little bit more lucid. Like, if they try to go spirit world, like you're like, sure, you can try, but you're gonna get messed up.
I mean, I'm not generally opposed to your idea. It's pretty dark, but I don't know. Yeah, we could.
Because imagine, because imagine if like a prisoner today was like, yeah, sure, I'm doing life, but when I dream, I'm just like chilling in on an oasis and like shooting the stuff with spirits and stuff. Like half my time served, it's just me relaxing somewhere. He'll be like, that's messed up. Let's do something
That's
about that.
a yeah. That's a different take on the judicial system for sure, and on the rehabilitation of criminals. That's different. Replace that with VR, and you've got something.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean,
Then again, there are some prisoners who have like cell phones. So it's like, how'd you guys get cell?
I do. I think we talked about it before. I do know one person who went to very white collar prison, and that's just not prison like anybody like I would have ever thought of
Yeah.
it before. It's very different, but uh, anyway, yeah, Chris, it's hard to argue with here. I'd say Amon's, if we could think of a really good catalyst, could be pretty interesting. I just having a hard time thinking of like after a whole lifetime, what what would make him more empathetic and still a positive contributor to society? I don't know the answer for that.
Think his brother got off himself.
I think it has to be a death, which then gets a little dark. But I think you're right. I think there's got to be a
Or maybe he goes
major
visit his
catalyst like
mom.
that.
Oh yeah, maybe he goes visits his mom, who's probably still alive.
See, that's a little softer. We could maybe work with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with here at face value though. Chris, thanks for the thought experiment. That was entertaining, and like I said, I was just kind of in a villain mood today for some reason. Not real sure why. But that's good. We'll go through Avatar, OG Avatar, at some point. And in the meantime, my name's Shawn. That's Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. Like, comment, thumbs up, click bells, leave positive reviews. Any positive form of interaction you're willing to leave, we're very grateful for all that. Please do that. That's great. And Chris, am I forgetting anything? All right, we'll see you next time. Oh no, I am forgetting. Next time we're gonna start live action episode by episode
Oh,
reviews. It's very exciting. So come back next time for that. We'll see you later.
okay. Sean has to support Netflix.
1 month maximum. That's all you're getting. Netflix. See ya.
You're gonna try and squeeze this in into 1 month. Let's see
Yes.
if